Day 197, Isaiah chapter 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. Beneath every prophecy in the Holy Bible is a whisper from God, a timeless truth that still speaks into our lives today. Welcome and thank you for joining us today as we uncover 8 scripture whispers that remind us who God is, how He works, and how we can trust Him in an uncertain world. Let's begin. I will punish the world for its evil, the wicked for their sins. I will put an end to the arrogance of the haughty, and will humble the pride of the ruthless. Babylon was one of the greatest empires in history. It looked unstoppable. Its walls were massive, its wealth was unmatched, its army was feared. Yet God simply said, I will humble them. One lesson life repeatedly teaches is that pride makes us believe we're untouchable. We may begin trusting our achievements more than the God who gave us the ability to achieve them. Pride doesn't only affect kings, it quietly enters everyday life. It whispers, I don't need anyone. I've got everything under control. I know better. But God lovingly reminds us that humility always has greater strength than arrogance. Success is safest when wrapped in gratitude. When life is going well, don't forget the one who opened every door. God says He will stir up the Medes against Babylon. Babylon never imagined that another nation would become God's instrument of judgment. This teaches us something beautiful. God is never limited by our expectations. Sometimes our breakthrough comes from unexpected people. Sometimes correction comes from unexpected situations. Sometimes the opportunity we've prayed for arrives wearing clothes we almost overlook. God's plans are always bigger than our predictions. Instead of asking, why is this happening? Perhaps ask, what is God accomplishing through this? Often His greatest work happens through the least expected circumstances. While nations worried about armies, walls, and wealth, Isaiah reminds God's people that the Lord Himself becomes a refuge for those who trust Him. Everything around us can change. Jobs change, economies change, friendships change, health changes. But God remains constant. Many people spend their lives trying to build financial security, emotional security, or social security. These are important. But none of them replace spiritual security. When God is your foundation, storms may shake you, but they cannot destroy you. Our peace should never depend on circumstances that can disappear overnight. One of the most recognized passages in Isaiah describes the downfall of the one who said repeatedly, I will ascend, I will raise, I will make myself. At the center of every statement was self. The problem wasn't ability, the problem was ambition, without submission. Today's world celebrates status, followers, titles, recognition, promotion. But God still values character above position. It is possible to climb high while drifting far from God. Real greatness isn't measured by how many people admire us, it's measured by how faithfully we honor God. Humility keeps success healthy. The chapter closes by saying, the Lord has established Zion, and in her His afflicted people will find refuge. The afflicted, the poor, the overlooked, the forgotten. God sees them all. Sometimes life convinces us that nobody notices our struggles. Maybe you're carrying burdens silently, working faithfully without recognition, serving your family, helping others, praying in private. God sees every unseen act. Nothing escapes His attention. He is not only the God of kings, He is also the God of ordinary people, living ordinary days with extraordinary faith. Moab had become known for pride and self-confidence. Yet everything they trusted eventually disappeared. Homes, harvests, prosperity, reputation. It reminds us how temporary earthly success can be. Careers can change. Businesses can fail. Fame fades. Youth passes. The only investment that lasts forever is our relationship with God. Jesus later echoed this same truth when He taught about storing treasures in heaven. Build a career. Build a business. Build a home. But above all, build your faith. Isaiah calls people to shelter refugees and protect those fleeing danger. This is remarkable. Even in the middle of judgment, God still values mercy. Justice and compassion are never enemies. Today's application is simple. We may not shelter refugees in our homes, but we can shelter discouraged hearts. We can encourage someone who feels forgotten. We can defend someone being mistreated. We can listen before judging. Every act of kindness reflects the heart of God. Mercy is never weakness, it is strength expressed through love. After describing destruction, Isaiah says, In that day people will look to their Maker, and turn their eyes to the Holy One of Israel. Sometimes hardship has a surprising purpose. It redirects our eyes. When life becomes comfortable, we often depend on ourselves. When life becomes difficult, we rediscover our dependence on God. Trials have a way of simplifying what really matters. Isaiah reminds us that hope begins when our eyes return to our Creator. Instead of focusing first on the problem, look first to God. He is never being surprised by what surprises us. Isaiah reminds us that kingdoms rise and fall, cultures change, power shifts, people come and go, but God remains faithful. His justice is certain, His mercy is available, His protection is real, His plans cannot be stopped. So today, remember, pride eventually falls, but humility stands. God often works through unexpected people and circumstances. True security is found in God alone. Character matters more than position. God sees those the world overlooks. Build your life on what lasts forever. Show mercy because God's heart is compassionate. When life becomes uncertain, fix your eyes on your Maker. May these whispers stay with you throughout your day. May they strengthen your faith. May they guide your decisions. And may they remind you that even in chapters filled with judgment, God's voice continues to call His people back to hope. Until next time, keep listening for the gentle whispers of Scripture, because God is still speaking.